Okay, so now we're on day 3, and day 3 is all about creating. Creating is an amazing way to cope. One of the things that I'm really focusing on in this whole 30-day campaign is to create, because a lot of times I think our default is that we want to escape in order to cope, and escape mechanisms are generally consuming. And so I really want to steer away from consuming as a way to cope and veer more towards creating and producing as a way to cope. And when I talk about creating, there are a lot of ways that you can create, and mostly I'm talking about ways that we can create with our hands and with our mind. And so this is an amazing tool. A number of ways that we are benefited by creating as a means of coping is that, for example, we get into a state of flow where our mind is so focused on what we're doing because it is equally rewarding as it is challenging, that we are almost not able to be distracted by anything else. And so that allows us to it is kind of a way to escape, but it's also a way to just recalibrate our minds and think differently about our situation. And in the state of flow, it's almost like a meditative state. And so it's a way to strengthen that thinking part of our brains and the logical side of our brains so that we aren't so reactive. So that's one of the benefits. Creating is also a way to increase the plasticity in our brains. It allows blood flow in our brains so that we can have stronger memory and capacity for learning. And there's just a greater sense of fulfillment because you are accomplishing something that is an authentic expression of yourself. And I think that is really the main thing that is missing from our lives, is that we kind of lack this balance, because we go from stress to consume, and then we're never really truly recovering because we aren't using our talents and our skills as a way to authentically create something and create an expression of ourselves. And so that is really a way to balance our lives, and that is a true sense of wellness, is having balance. It's not just having the absence of stress or disease, but wellness is so much more than that. It's being able to be free to express ourselves in a creative way. And again, going back to this idea that when you can create, it gives you that sense of accomplishment. And everybody needs that sense of accomplishment, especially in our brains. When we have that feeling, our brains release dopamine, which is it's a happy hormone, right? And so when we create, we are happier. So there are a lot of ways that we can create. It's creating with art. We have all these coloring books that you can even see at your checkout line in your grocery store that are everywhere, that exploded. Maybe they're out of date now, but I think they're still a really great way to cope. Just pick up one of these coloring books, and every time you feel stressed, color in one of these books, or have a doodle journal that you carry around with you, so that every time you have a break and you want to recover, just color in your doodle journal. Writing is also a form of creating. So you could write something, you could write a story, you could write your history, you could write in your journal, or you could write poetry. You can also create things like crocheting or knitting, or those kinds of crafts that you can do with your hands, paper crafts, soft fabric crafts, weaving, those kinds of things. You could also do woodwork or stained glass or pottery. I have an aunt that actually makes stained glass, so that was really cool to learn that she has that skill. You can also do photography or coding, or you could cook. Look up a good recipe and cook something, and feel that sense of accomplishment because you've created something new and it's an authentic expression of yourself. You could also create a collage or a vision board. You could also clean your house. I know that sounds like a really weird way to create, but I think that if you have that sense of accomplishment because you tackled a project, or you creatively learned a new way to fold a fitted sheet, right? Or different things like that give you that sense of accomplishment. You could build a puzzle, or you could work out logic riddles and things like that. All of these things give you that sense of accomplishment and re-stimulate the neurons in your brain so that you are more capable of learning things, and you get that feeling that you have done something that is uniquely you. Thanks again for following along. Be sure to share this with your friends. Send them to homeandfamilyculture.com/cope to catch all the videos in the 30-day challenge. And then head over to Instagram and find me at Family Culture Podcast. Tag me in your stories and tell me about how this series is making an impact on you. Tell me how this particular coping strategy is impacting you, and tag me and use the hashtag Family Coping Skills. Thank you so much for following along. You can also email me if you have questions or insights or anything you want to share at jody@homeandfamilyculture.com. Thank you so much.